Hey everyone, this is me, Andrea from Andy's Corner, and I'm so glad that you've joined me today because today we continue our story on Jacob, and it only gets juicier and juicier. So, today we find ourselves in the middle of chapter 29 of the book of Genesis, and Jacob had just met his cousin at the well, okay? And then she takes him to go meet his father, his uncle, and that's where we leave off, okay? So let's go. After Jacob had stayed with Laban for a month, Laban said to him, "You shouldn't work for me without pay just because we are relatives. Tell me how much your wages should be." Now Laban had two daughters. The daughter was named Leah, and the younger one was Rachel, who we already met. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes. Whatever that means. No, let's see what it says. Here it says in our commentary, no sparkle in her eyes, meaning she had dull eyes or soft eyes. I don't know what that means. But Rachel had a beautiful figure and a lovely face. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, "I'll work for you for 7 years if you'll give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife." "Agreed," Laban replied. "I'd rather give her to you than to anyone else. Stay and work with me." So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel. But his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but a few days. Finally, after the 7 years, the time came for him to marry her. "I have fulfilled my agreement," Jacob said to Laban. "Now give me my wife so that I can be with her." So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood and prepared a wedding feast. But that night, when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob, and he was with her instead. Laban had given Leah a servant, Zilpah, to be her maid. Now, the Zilpah part, her maid, that's important, and you'll find out later in the next few episodes. When Jacob woke up in the morning, it was Leah. "What have you done to me?" Jacob raged at Laban. "I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me?" Now, some of you might be thinking, how in the world could Jacob be tricked? Well, it's a custom in this time that the wedding ceremonies would go on for days, and he was probably maybe under the influence of wine, perhaps a little bit. And also, when they meet their wife in the tent, it's dark and there's no electricity, maybe a few candles, and more than likely she probably had a veil on and was covering her face. So he was slightly probably out of it and he didn't notice. I know it seems crazy to us in this day and age where we have light everywhere, no matter what time of day it is. But then, no electricity, you never know. So, Laban says, "It is not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn." Laban replied, "But wait until the bridal week is over, then we'll give you Rachel too, provided you promise to work another 7 years for me." So, he had to wait till the honeymoon was over a week, and then he could have his second wife, Rachel, because that's the one he really wanted. Now, obviously, this is not God's best. When God created Adam and Eve, he made one woman for one man, and that was his standard. And actually, later on, when he teaches the laws to Moses, he tells Moses that. But at this time, it was culturally acceptable. But that doesn't mean that God necessarily smiled upon it, okay? But God still uses us despite our sin, right? So, oh, and isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that Jacob tricked his father into thinking he was someone else? Then fast forward Jacob got tricked by somebody thinking they were someone else. See, Jacob, what goes around comes around. So, friends, be careful. So, Jacob agreed to work 7 more years. A week after Jacob had married Leah, Laban gave him Rachel too. Laban gave Rachel a servant, Bilhah, to her maid. So Jacob was with Rachel too, and he loved her much more than Leah. He stayed and worked for Laban the additional 7 years. Now, friends, this is not the best case scenario. First of all, you have Jacob, who is lied and is running from his past. Then he goes to his family and he gets lied to, and now he has 2 brides. And he clearly doesn't love one and he loves the other. Now imagine being that bride that you know your husband doesn't love you. That must be heartbreaking. But the hope is that God sees us, and you'll see in the next episode that God sees Leah and he blesses her and he has favor upon her because of her desire to be loved. So friends, if you feel like you have this desire to be loved by somebody and they're not giving you that attention, trust me, go to the Lord. He is the best Father and he loves us the best. So don't try to find love in mere humans who are imperfect, but run to the arms of the Father who loves perfectly. I cannot tell you any more than run to his arms because he will love you perfectly. He never lies. He never forgets you. He's always thinking about you and he's always watching you, and not in a creepy way like, I'm watching you, but he's watching you in that he loves you so much he can't take his eyes off you. And that's what stuck out to me in this part. Now, again, we couldn't really see it but I know what's going to happen next. So I'm anticipating how God steps in. And again, this is all the sin of man, that Laban lied to Jacob about his first wife. But God, despite the lying and the sinning of all these imperfect humans, God still uses them, and he can use us too. So, friends, be encouraged. Go to God when you feel lonely, when you feel sad, when you feel like you're wanting someone's attention and they're not giving it to you. God is waiting for your attention. So I don't know, that's so comforting to me. I don't know about you. Anyways, I hope you like this story. The stories of the Bible just keep getting better and better, and they're so interwoven with God's love and his commitment to his children. Just stay around and you'll find out. All right, so stay tuned for the next episodes to see what happens with Jacob, the deceiver, and his many wives. Okay? All right, see you later. Bye.